So my brother would get out of it because he had asthma.
Oh,
So he would always be.
He start wheezing the moment y'all got to the hood. He's like, I can't get out.
Soon as grass
not
cutting,
getting out this car.
Any grass cutting, he always had asthma, allergies.
Wow.
So
and you tell me this is why your voice is like this now?
No.
Made you get out the car.
Right.
Ragweed. Hello, world, and welcome back to
We're back.
Flowing with the 811 crew. I am Jay Turner with
Ulysses Glenn, better known as Slugger.
Sluggerific. It's good to be back in the lab with you, baby.
Good to be back.
You know what I'm saying? I had to change up my wares today a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know if folks have noticed. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I got to represent the District of Columbia most time. I was like, the way Bill Cosby on his show was always repping, like an HBCU, etc. My goal is to kind of rep some different flavor on my shirt of DC. So you might have seen like go, whatever. So no, this is not deep. Today I am mismatched. However, I am matching the 811 crew sign.
And we both have on blue.
Well, that is a deeper. That is like a meadow blue. You got. I don't know.
It's the same. It's the same.
It looks like
my pants are that color.
It could also be like mushroom. I don't know.
Well, now we need to see the pants.
Yeah, my pants. See my pants.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That
Okay.
okay. That's good. Dark blue, light blue. You're going across spectrum today. That's very good.
I thought they matched.
I mean, you do, and I know the shoes are good too. I mean, I ain't gonna ask you to lift the leg up and show the shoes.
No, do that.
But they're better than Payless, but less than Gucci. I don't know. Very right. They're very nice. Anyway, Slugger is always ready to go. He's always dressed well. But we digress because what we are talking about today, I've been waiting to talk about this. I feel some type of way about this. The question today is, why do we need a housekeeper when we have kids? Do kids do chores? Have we changed that much? Do kids have chores, jobs? We're going to chop that up today. What do you think about that?
Well,
Start us off. Let's get into this.
As a person who grew up with a lady who cleaned our house, Vera.
Oh, that's right. We Vera. We discussed that.
Yes.
Can I just say that, and I remembered her name. Like the moment I was about to say, I was ready to say Vera because that was a period, the 70s, where I keep thinking the names Vera, Alice, Edith. All those ones are like
what's Leon the Jeffersons? The cleaning lady.
Florence.
Right.
Exactly. Like those, there were some cleaning lady names. They're usually like 2-syllable and sound like the 50s.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how it is now. I think now it's more like,
Maria,
Rosie, Maria. Right.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a Tanisha in there, but
No,
no cleaning ladies named Tanisha.
Ain't cleaning.
But we digress because. But the question is, why aren't kids doing this stuff anymore? Are kids doing this? Why not, Slugger?
Well, one thing is, even when we had a cleaning lady, she was not allowed to clean our room, and she didn't clean our bathroom. The cleaning lady was there for my parents, for their luxury.
Got it.
So she didn't clean our room, even though we would when my parents would be gone, we would try to convince her, like, hey, you should clean our room. She's like, no. Your mom and dad said no. It was like a strict thing. Do not clean our room. Do not clean our bathroom.
What about vacuuming? Did she do anything in your room? Like, did she vacuum?
No,
Nothing.
Nothing. We could have a whole party in there. She never even went in our room. In fact, when she would come on Saturdays, so we would have to do our chores on Saturdays. So, like, if my dad would run his errands. My mom would go grocery shopping, but we had chores we had to do, even
like outside, but outside the crib, like and outside the house. Did you
I
ever?
was a slave.
Right. Describe some of the manual hard labor that you had to do as a kid.
I grew up in Twinsburg. My parents lived on like an acre of land. I think my father.
Y'all had wait a minute. Y'all had an acre?
Like an acre of land.
I thought. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I live in the suburbs.
Who has an acre? I mean, in D.C., still the acre, you get a quarter acre in the suburbs, not an acre.
Oh, no, we have a huge backyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
an acre.
So, and plus, next door, there was an empty lot. So, myself and my next door neighbor who lived on the other side, we had to share cutting half of the empty lot.
Okay.
So we could play there like football and everything. But no, my parents, I was a full slave.
I like it.
Like I was a slave. Like literally before Roots came out.
With floor mopping,
Oh yeah,
anything like this at all.
like if the weeks that the house cleaning lady wasn't there, I remember my father got rid of the mop because he's from Mississippi, so he feels you should clean on your hands.
on your hands and knees,
Yeah.
like get on down there, get
So I
them
actually
cracks and
still-
crevices.
So if you probably have never been around, but I have a Swiffer now. But if I'm really cleaning the floor, I do it on the hands and knees.
Yeah, I've never seen you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen
Because-
your hands and knees at all.
And you can
I
tell.
don't want to see that anyway.
think we want
And I definitely never seen you on cleaning nothing
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
If you ever noticed, if you look at the chair boards at someone's house, that's how you can tell if they're on their hands and knees or if they use a mop.
Or if Vera or Rosie is
Right.
doing it.
Right, because
Okay.
because the normal people will just use the Swiffer, and you'll see the dust and stuff still on the chair board. on the
I
chair.
feel you now, and I feel some type of way about this because my chores were both indoor and outdoor. Okay, now I feel like growing up definitely did not have a cleaning lady. I mean, like it was my mother, God bless her. By 6:45 a.m. on a Saturday morning, my mother would start her day off in my bedroom reading the newspaper with her cup of coffee, and she'd be sitting there until 7 o'clock. She is sitting there till 7 o'clock, and then she is the alarm clock. Imagine this, the
For real?
first thing I would see many times on a Saturday morning, I'm waking up, I'm wiping my face, and my mother's like, "Good morning, darling." I have a list. I have your list right here. I'm like, Mom, for real? Like, I'm not even up yet. She'd be like, "Come on, no, let's go." By 7:06, I had to be up out the bed. Had to get rolling, and she had my whole list for me.
My father was the taskmaster. Like my mother, few things she would, but my father was like you had to cut the grass before 12
Absolutely.
because he didn't want his grass burnt.
Burnt. That's right.
So, and there was a certain way you had to do it, so he saw the lines.
I love it.
So that's how I know about doing
Oh.
grass. Even now,
I just love. Can I just tell you? I love grass cutting. I love the lines.
Wait,
I like
wait,
the
when you-
cross
when-
cut. I like
When you just
edging.
said that, so my brother growing up was the grass cutter, and
Yeah.
in Michigan I was the shoveler, which
Oh,
I
really?
think I got the worst end of it
You
because
did.
we lived on the corner, and so our sidewalk went all the way around. Now the
Hold
grass
on a second. Are you saying you had an acre of land too?
No, I didn't have an acre of land.
Okay.
I didn't have a pool. I
Gee,
didn't have a
all y'all
Winnebago.
people, but you did have a curb. I mean, you
I
had a rounded
large,
curb.
rounded
Curb.
curb.
Wow.
But you know what? Back then, you didn't have to. Well, at least in where I grew up, you didn't have to shovel the sidewalk. One, because where I lived, we were one of the first new developments that had sidewalks, so it wasn't a big thing about sidewalks. So we were like most of the developments didn't have sidewalks.
I was gonna ask that too, yeah.
So all we had to do was we had a long driveway, but no, we didn't have to do that. No, we didn't have to
Okay.
do
Yeah, I
that.
think you have to shovel your sidewalks within like so many days unless it's
Yeah.
snow above so many
I
inches.
think, and I think
And
that's
what about the Jacksons? Were they shoveling their sidewalk? Because they didn't own that. They didn't own
No,
that
no,
sidewalk.
no.
I mean, were
And
they,
actually,
I
I
know
don't
Muzz
think-
were watching them.
We're
boy.
gonna call them the Written Jacksons.
The written Jacksons.
And actually,
Like the
and
what?
the thing is, I don't think in Twinsburg now you have to because, and yeah, I'm positive because my mom only has, they just come and do her driveway and that's
Oh
it.
yeah, no. In
So-
DC, you got to
Yeah,
shovel your walkway like
that's
by noon. You got to have your walkway be
I
clear.
think that's I think that's more of a city. Like if you live in DC, Baltimore, I think
right because people
walk,
use the sidewalk.
sidewalks. Yeah, there's no one.
Yeah, it's
walking
also
the-
a enabling thing too, and it's also a way of economic development for the
Oh, yeah.
youth.
I
I used to like literally when it was snowing. That is like money falling from the sky.
Oh, yeah.
If it was going to be snowing, two things went through my mind. Number one, I got to wake up early to see if Bob Ryan. This is NBC back in the day. People know Bob Ryan.
Yeah,
If Bob Ryan was going to say that school was closed. And I used to hate that, as a quick aside, because they used to do all the schools in the whole D.C. metropolitan area. They do it by alphabetical order.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you missed District of Columbia, you had to go all the way through.
You couldn't hit rewind.
Right. You had to be out everywhere. You had to be out in Columbia, Maryland, everything before they would come back.
We knew ours was Dick Goddard.
Oh, Dick who?
Dick Goddard.
Dick Goddard.
Dick is his first name. Last name is Goddard.
Goddard. Okay.
Goddard.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Dick
Very
Goddard.
good. I was worried about. I was like, I know you mispronounce certain things. You know, Dick Goddard. I was like,
He was our
that was fraught for mispronunciation.
He was our
You did good with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Took 3 times, but
He was our weatherman for like a billion years.
That's right.
I think he just died.
Yeah,
recently.
as did Bob Ryan. But we digress because money would happen, and so I remember to tell you a story. My son and his best friend, they were going. It was about to snow. They saw that snow and were like, "Oh, school is closed. This means PlayStation and Xbox all day and night. This is a global Xbox PS tournament." I was like, y'all fools need to get out there and get that money. They were like, no. I said, oh, yes. Here are 2 shovels. Get out there and start shoveling. You would have thought I asked them to plow the North 40 acres. They were like, oh, man, why are you doing it? You're so mean and whatever. But, of course, I'm sorry. This is not a democracy. I was like, get out there and go shovel. And let me tell you what happened. It turns out that it's funny how money changes situations.
Right.
Midday, my son calls me. He's like, Dad. He was like, I already have $200 in my pocket. And we got 10 more people who want to do it. He came home that night. Both him and his boy had made $400. Now their perspective has changed. Now only sometimes do they want to go shovel. Versus before they made that money, they would have definitely stayed home.
Well, now they're older, so they're
right.
like, yeah, they're not. But the thing is with chores, you should give. Children need chores.
Yes,
it shows you, especially as men and women, and as you grow into an adult, you can take care of your own home.
Absolutely,
because there was times once I was living on my own, I couldn't afford a cleaning lady, so I had to know how to clean and do things, clean, cook, whatever. I do have a lady who comes probably once a month and cleans, but most of the stuff I clean. I sweep the steps down, but I'm not a dirty person. It's just me in the house and the dog.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, my daughter is a great cleaner. Like when she cleans, I have not made the kid. Didn't have my kids. I was not the hardcore chore master that my mother and father both were. I wish I could have imposed that, but I didn't. Whatever that is to me, I did not. But my daughter, I will tell you this: my daughter knows how to clean. Like she don't clean all the time, but when she starts to clean, that girl will mop. Like she understands how to mop a floor, not just spell mop.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of my daughter for that. But my one regret is that I got divorced about 1 year before I would have had Jacob learning how to start and mow that lawn. Like right now, if the lawnmower, as big and strong as my son is, if we pull the lawnmower up, he might look at that thing like, wait a minute, how does this thing start?
I'm trying to think. When I was married, my son had chores, and which kind of was the elephant in the room, because I felt he should have chores.
Yes.
So and I knew, I think I started him like at 8 years old and things like that. But the person whose name we'll never mention, she didn't think he was capable of doing it. And I'm like, I know it's not going to be perfect, but
it's that responsibility.
It's responsibility. It shows you how it's your bathroom. You need to clean the pee off the floor. Like there's no one. And when I remember when we had a cleaning lady when I was married, I tried to have those same rules. Like, hey, she shouldn't clean his bathroom. He needs to, and
somebody looked at you like, what do you mean?
And it would be
what?
right. So the argument came like that. But as he got older, he did learn to do more chores. So he was, and even like when he lived with me, he had chores. I remember I wrote out a daily listing of chores for him to do that was on the wall.
That is critical.
That actually I still have.
Very good.
And it was actually interesting that I had him around the house so he wouldn't forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed it to him, so keep it on your phone. So, because he's like, who writes and makes a spreadsheet? I'm like, well, okay, fine. I don't care where you keep it, but
Right.
here it is.
Right.
So, but no, children should have, it gives you responsibility. It's almost like working as I think at a certain age, children should work.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that too when we come back. But I'll tell you one way that I know that my household had regressed is my kids will quickly eat something, make something, and leave that pot or that plate or whatever on the counter or in the sink. And I'm going to tell you what, that is one thing that I did not do growing up. You better not even, it never occurred to me to leave that Wheaties cereal bowl just down in there with some old milk and sugar. No, it had to get washed and not even in the dishwasher. Anyway, it's a lot of things that have been different. We'll talk about it and chop it up more. We got a poll question. We're going to find out more about this. 811 crew, we'll keep chopping it up. We'll be back.
We'll be back, 2 and 2.
All right, welcome back to the 811 crew, and we are talking about kids and chores today. Like, what's going on with that? I mean, picking up where we left off, Slugger, I am very interested to know, do you feel, why is it that parents of privilege, it seems to me, are less likely to have their kids do chores? I mean, even you as a suburban Miss Vera had to, eat with the Winnebago and the pool and camps every summer. We haven't got to that, but I'm sure you went to some lovely camp every summer. But even with all of that, you had to do chores. But why do you feel like parents of privilege now? What's changed?
Well, now I think, one, in the summertime, people of a certain economics, their children are going away to camps to, STEM camp. Even I remember my son went to veterinary STEM camp at Tuskegee. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So they're in some type of sports camp, so they don't have the opportunities to work. And I remember, if you think about when we were younger, when you went to McDonald's, the smart kids worked at McDonald's
or Burger King.
Like a lot of people I know that were valedictorians and things worked at McDonald's and things because you had to be able to count money and things like that.
And if your look was a certain way, you could move up like I did too. I can't believe it's yogurt.
Whoa!
Like, I'm moving up in the,
I never did. I never did fast food, but. But now versus people that it's hard to find teenagers that are working in that work during the summer. That's why there's such a scarcity even for lifeguards. Only kids that you get you have your college age kids that come home and want to work, but there's no one really 15 years old is like or 16. I think besides my nephew who worked at Starbucks during COVID. Yeah. But other than that.
And I'm going to tell you, I have now on that piece in terms of external. I may not have been as strong on the internal, employment chores, but I definitely mandated to get that money outside the house. So, for instance, my son at 15, he had his first job at Ben's Chili Bowl. I don't know. Can we say Ben's Chili Bowl? I mean, it's DC. I got to be able to say Ben's Chili Bowl. But he worked at Ben's Chili Bowl, and I got him a job there. And that's right. Trey worked there too. Yep. And I was intentional about that. I wanted him to have somebody else's ketchup and mustard and chili sauce on his finger, and have to take that back there and smell his fingers and be like, man, that dude was nasty with his food. These things are valuable experiences, man. Don't you agree?
The thing is, once you're, especially being a male, you start dating. You need to have your own money. I would still take care. Do all the
You gotta get
do the main. You pay for the main things, but there's. If you want to start dating, you have a car. I'm not going to always give you. If I buy you a car, you should have the money for gas.
Or like I said with my dad, like I had to pay insurance. I told that heartbreaking story. Dad rolled out. But you know what? Before we talk even more, we had a poll question about this. What was the poll question?
Our poll question with Carmen. Hey, Carmen. What's up?
Carm.
Hello.
Back in the lab.
And Carmen
Back again.
And Carmen has her hair out.
I know.
I know this is the first time we've seen her hair out.
Crazy.
I know. She's
Bring
living
them
on the
out. Bring
edge.
them out.
TV magic.
Go Carmen. Go Carmen.
Not blue magic, but TV magic.
There you go.
You both are good.
All
Talk
right.
to us. Talk to us. What are the people saying? I'm really curious about what you're gonna say, Carmen,
Mm-hmm.
because it seems
Right.
to me that youngins ain't doing chores, and clearly it's the mama and daddy's fault.
Did you
so
say
talk to
ain't?
me about it.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And I love you for it. All right. That's right. So
DC is a southern town.
we did the poll on the interwebs. Follow us if you're not following us.
Yes, follow
All right.
us.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
And when it comes to teenagers having chores, 100% said yeah
Seriously?
Yeah, what?
to chores
Yes,
for
that
teenagers.
They should have chores.
Yes,
or
100%.
Yes, that they are doing chores.
100% said yes.
That
They have chores.
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta rephrase the question.
I mean, I think now it's like the amount of chores.
Right,
I think
it's-
it's probably
or like it's what the definition of the chore is. Like
facts.
taking
Yeah.
out the trash once a week.
It's not
is
really,
not really
a
a
chore.
chore.
Loading the
Okay.
dishwasher.
Sure,
Right.
that's not a chore.
Having to call your own Uber, I don't think that's a chore. Is that a chore? I
Yeah,
don't
yo,
think that's a chore.
a chore is when you clean the bathroom.
There you go.
When you're cleaning
Nah.
the bathroom, cleaning the floor, you have to, when you're vacuuming, mopping, things like those are chores.
I agree. I mean, but it seems like chores these days are reminding your parents to pay the cell phone bill. It's like that. I mean, I don't worry, Daddy. I'm gonna have a reminder on my phone.
Like,
Okay, 'cause my TikTok. gotta
I've
stay
never,
up.
I don't hear any of my friends saying, "Oh, I had to get after him or her. She didn't do this."
Right,
He
because they're
didn't-"
not asking to do
they're not.
nothing.
Most of them are in their room,
Right, looking at their screens.
So wait, Carmen, did you have chores?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Did you? I
I
said,
mean, you
yeah,
know, wait a minute. Carmen's
Absolutely.
from Texas.
She's
Yeah.
a-
You had
she's
to
a
milk
dog,
cows
yeah.
or something.
I
didn't you?
had
to
I,
milk
Yeah,
cows.
no. I mean, when I went to my grandmother's house in the country, absolutely, we had some interesting country chores.
Now, give me
Like-
some millennial chores. Now, we talked about Gen X chores, which we
Right.
agree are real chores. Like, we talking
Right.
about work, okay, sweat.
Right.
You know, now, give me some examples of some
Right.
Texan millennial chores.
So this is just a brief reminder that my mom didn't need to get a maid because she had 4 kids. So each child had a room. So bathroom went to one child, the kitchen went to another child, the living room
Oh,
went to
wow.
another child, the den room went to another child, and then everybody had to clean their own rooms.
Nice.
Yep.
And then it was like volleyball where you rotate.
Yep, that was
and
it.
then you got everybody can't just
It was a
clean
weekly
that same
argument
family
between
room.
us and all of us. No, it was your turn to wash the dishes because I was supposed to clean the den room. Well, who didn't vacuum? Because Mama said you had to vacuum, and it was on your list, and you're in charge of the living room. So yeah,
That's why you do 1 week on, 1 week off. We did. You clean. If you set the table, the other person did the dishes. Mm-hmm. You set the table, you cleared the table, the other person did the dishes, and then you switch.
You know what this is? You know what this is? A lot of family collaboration going on here.
Right.
What I know is that y'all all came from the suburbs. It's a lot of suburban living around here.
Yeah, we
That's
were
what I know.
suburbs.
All of this. Well, we got together, and it's your week
And the
this
den.
week, and all this other stuff. That's
Yeah,
real.
okay.
That's real.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
I love it when a family comes together.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but it's necessary. I think it builds character, and you realize someone's got to do it. Like you, that's one of the things I'm glad my parents instilled in my brother and I. I know how to cut grass. Even now, when I go home, I put my mom's the fertilizer down for her, things like that. So you know how changing light bulbs. When you go, when you talk to women of a certain age and they're dating guys, they're like, oh, he didn't know how to do this, he didn't know how to do that. You're like, really?
I know.
Like, how?
I'm like the same way, man.
I'm like, I can see why he's not here now.
Right. And you know what? And as an aside, I really think that cats who did chores, we might have to have a poll question, but it just hit me. Cats who do chores, I would argue, can also cook.
Facts.
There's some correlation
Yeah, I
between
can cook. Yeah, yeah.
chores and cooking. I mean, if you put the two together, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a pattern there. I don't know what it is, but there's a pattern there.
I can cook.
You know what
Because
I mean?
I will say, I think a man that's single and cooks, he has to clean.
Right.
So therefore, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
Wait,
right.
let me ask you, Sid. Let me ask you a question. So, do you encounter men of a certain age that you can tell don't know how to, that didn't do chores or don't know how to do things?
Wow.
Yeah, because they
would be
don't
this-
push their chairs in when they get up from the table. They leave their stuff there. It's just like they
Well, I don't mean
it's not even messy thing. It's like what's your
like I get like when I was on the scene. If I went to a chick's house, if you go to her house, oh well, you need me to change a light bulb because most time you go to a woman's house, there's always a light bulb out because they can't reach it.
You know what?
So-
There really can be a
Facts.
single light bulb
Facts,
that is
facts,
out
facts.
It's
on your
also
chandelier.
strategic planning.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. You invite certain people over to change your light bulb.
But can I just say, but at the same time, I don't want there to be any hate on the person like myself whose clothes might hit the floor before they hit the closet. I
messy?
love
You say
chores,
messy?
but I am unneat.
But let me just say,
Oh, that's nice.
You said unneat.
yeah. That's
Okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah, that's some
known as
some
messy.
UVA. That's some UVA-ish for you.
But
Unneat.
if something happens and you need like something screwed in or something, and the guy can't do
Oh,
it,
stop. Yeah. No,
Yeah, like
that's
he
not
has
good.
no idea.
Yeah.
It's one thing that to break
if
it.
I
but-
can do it and get my little, I got a tool belt,
Right. It's
and if I
cooking.
can do it better, then
And this goes to me, and I'm throwing something out there. I know that not everybody, but I also, now that I think about it, if you know how to do chores, you may be less afraid of bugs and insects. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you that cutting grass, you have to definitely get in that bush and there gnats and flies and everything,
No.
stuff on your arms. I love that. You just dust off on your arms and keep going.
My parents had some rental property. Used to have to go over there and clean and do stuff over
Okay,
there.
now we're
So
are,
then-
are we moved on to your real estate portfolio? Never mind, we digress. 811 crew, we're gonna take another break. We're gonna come back here and we're gonna have our tax advisors and wealth management on after this. 811 crew, we'll
We'll
be
be
back.
back.
811 crew, we are back, and this has been
Back
a great
in black.
conversation. This has been a good conversation talking
Right.
about kids and chores, the chores they don't do, the chores we used to do, the chores they should be doing.
But we have to. One thing we have to say about chores. My father would drop me off in the middle of where we owned rental property. Talk about not being afraid of spiders, mice, things. I would have to go into the basement, put mouse traps. He would,
Now, this wasn't in inner city Cleveland, was it?
Yes, it was.
My God.
Right.
Did
those
you have security? Did you?
No. Those are no, and they would make. So my brother would get out of it because he had asthma.
Oh.
So he would always be.
He start wheezing the moment y'all got to the hood. He's like, I can't get out.
Soon as grass
not
cutting,
getting out this car.
Any grass cutting, he always had asthma,
Oh, wow.
allergies.
Wow.
So
and
he
you
got
tell
out-
me this is why your voice is like this now?
No.
Made you get out the car.
Right.
Ragweed.
But actually, I'm not afraid of like mice, things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're used to cleaning. You had to go in the woods where I lived and get wood for the fireplace. So
You know
it's
what?
like,
Wood, all that stuff, the chores are really big too. But one thing that you mentioned as we wrap up this segment is I don't understand what kids are doing for money. I guess that
Their
parents
parents give
their
it to 'em.
parents are just cash apping them. I mean,
Oh,
that's
all the
what
time.
it is now, right? And I just fundamentally disagree with that. Growing up, you had to. You might have had an allowance from doing your chores,
Right, allowance.
and then you needed to get a job to be able to take your little girlfriend or boyfriend, as it may, to the
Right.
movies and ice cream money, etc. And I can't imagine just not wanting to have some little walk around money of your own in your pocket. Be able to save up for a new video cartridge new Atari cartridge
no,
back in the day.
I used to buy when every Saturday I would go to the record store. So I had to have money.
store.
Oh yeah, I had to Camelot Records. Either Camelot or if you went in the city, you could get like the 12 inches that they didn't sell like at Peaches.
In DC, we had the Whiz back in the day.
We didn't have the Wiz. We had Peaches and we had Camelot.
Well, those are all things that you are really throwing it back there. We are truly Generation X when we talk about the record store.
Right.
But you know what? We have to also, this has been a good topic, but we got to transition to what's going on after these kids. Our next segment is going to be about divorce. You're over 50, now what? So now we kind of gone back about us. You've learned about us, some of how we think, chores, kids, etc. But back to being 50 over and fabulous, how living our best life. But the kids are gone. What are we doing now?
Some people, I think, you have some people who are home. You have some people who go out. You have some people who are still in the club.
Right.
You have some people who are homebodies.
Right.
And we gotta, you have to decide what you want to do once you're divorced, once you're a certain age.
Absolutely. But now we have a poll question.
Yes, we have a poll question.
What's the poll question that we're on this now?
Let me actually read so I can read it word for word. The poll question is: divorce over 50. Now what? Do you get out? Do you get out and about? Or do you stay home, or do you hang out in the club? Are you the old man in the club?
Right. So we talked about this too when we were saying about this. It's kind of like, when you go out is kind of like, you're making new friends, or you're trying to maybe go on a walk or biking or something. That's like get out the house.
That's getting out the house.
Then you stay home. That's just, I don't want to do nothing.
I'm not doing nothing.
Just Netflix. And then it's buck wild. You just trying to hang out, be at the club and everything like that.
All those years you were married, you're trying to make up for it.
So please, audience, let us know what you think about those 50. We're going to chop that up on 811 Crew when we get back. And kids need to learn how to cut grass and make their own money. 811 Crew, we're out.
Thank you.
Let's go, pick your feet up though. Let's go, pick your feet up though.